And we are live. Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Janie, aka Janie of Canada, and on this channel we'll talk about everything life as a professional immigrant. So studying, working, thriving, running a business, being a boss in Canada, this is where it's at. If you're new, where have you been? And if you're a return and subscriber, missed you, hug. If you're new, please subscribe, it's free. Like honestly, this energy, you want some of it, as well as tips to succeed in your newcomer journey. Okay, so this video is a little bit different from most of my other videos. It's not so much as a how-to. I've gotten different people at different times ask me about my own immigration story, how I got to where I am today. So for those of you who don't know, I've been in Canada 5+ years now. I've been blessed with 3 study permits, 1 postgraduate work permit for 3 years, and a permanent residence. And all of these applications I did myself. So if you want to know how we got to this point, or maybe you just want to get to know me a little bit better, this is the spot. Let's do this. Okay, beautiful people. So let's take it all the way back to 2015. I had graduated with a Bachelor's of Information Technology, and I had worked for 1 year. So if you're Nigerian, you know there's something called the National Youth Service Corps, where you get to serve the government for 1 year. I worked as in an IT firm as a network analyst for 1 year, and I knew, like many Nigerians, that you have to go and do your what? Masters. And so my mom at the time, my brother had already been in Canada at that point since 2007. So for me it was a no-brainer because we're quite close and I wanted to go join him. So I wasn't so much looking at the US or UK, I was looking at Canada. I hadn't even thought, to be honest, about like long term. But my brother was like, oh, you can stay after, we'll discuss that down the line. I honestly just wanted to come study, but I knew that if I wanted to stay longer, I had the option. So I applied to about 7 schools because I wanted to do something in digital media. I mean, I like tech, but I didn't like the back end of tech. I wanted to do something more front facing because, as you can see, I have a personality that cannot be hiding in a coding room in the basement. So 1 second. I'm parched. Maybe I'll take this a little slower. So I applied to about 7 schools to do something in digital media and like marketing for my master's, and I got a whooping no from almost all 7 of them. And at the time I didn't know why, but if you wait a little bit more, you'll find out why with me. Okay, let's enjoy the story together. And so I applied because I had a brother here. He also now told me a little bit about colleges and how here in Canada you can if you're trying to do something more practical, and if you want to do something called the co-op, because then that way you get like experience working in the field while you're in school, and it helps your Canadian work experience. I was like, say less. I've talked about universities and colleges and the difference in another video, which I'll link, as well as the importance of doing programs that have co-ops in them, and you'd hear from my journey. So I then, at the same time, thankfully in that 2015, while I was applying to those schools, I also applied to colleges, Humber, Centennial, and I forget the third one, George Brown. I got into 2 out of 3 of them. And so Humber, the program I did in Humber was advertising, media management. And so that was 2015. He also had a co-op. Well, we'll come back to this. Anyways, I really enjoyed the program, but again, I was the only black girl in my class, and I kind of touched on the stories that have happened to me. Like, I think my first encounters with racism and microaggressions and unconscious bias, all of that happened in my very first year in Canada. In the program of almost 40 people, I was the only black girl, and I showed up to class my first week with a protective style that black people would know as faux locks. And I remember people like making snarky comments about my hair or assuming certain things about me because of how I showed up. So people didn't expect that I would be quite smart, and so no one wanted to be in a group with me for the first couple of weeks until my test papers came out. And then the next thing, who's the star of the class? Who's the star of the class? Your homegirl. Oh well, so I also did a co-op in that first year. Because I'm a Nigerian, I knew that I needed to do my master's like by force, by fire. So second year came around, and I also applied to another set of schools for my master's. I pretty much got no's from all that sets again. So if you're calculating, the average cost of an application fee at the time was between $100 to $150. So a lot of money was gone in the process of applying to schools. And so in 2016, I also applied to different schools. But the wait time and the application process for universities is very long and lengthy. 6 months to 9 months sometimes, but colleges are quite fast. So as an international student in Canada, you don't have so much of an option. You're either schooling or you're out. Sorry, you're either schooling, working, or you're out of the country. There's no, oh, I'm trying to make a decision, so give me 2 months. Nobody gives you that. So knowing that, I needed to apply to universities, but as a safety net, I applied to a second program in the college in Humber. It was just safe, right? I didn't want to start going to another school. It was easier to apply in the school I already was in. And I also got a bunch of no's. And I went to talk to the International Student Center, and I was just having conversations there. And somebody told me that, do you know you can ask the university why they failed you or why they said no? And for me, with very good grades, I graduated with a 2-1. One of those 2-1s that if you like, just get a little bit more serious, might be a first class. So my grades were not an issue. So I didn't understand how I was rejected from all of these programs. But that was how I knew to contact the universities and ask them why they told me no. In my second year, after thousands of dollars have been spent.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Anyways, and that's how I found out that because I did IT and I had a technical background, coming to do digital media was looked upon as an arts background. So they needed me to have a BA, a Bachelor's of Art, or something in like social sciences to make sense to do like a master's, especially one with thesis for a master's degree. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. But anyways, I had taken my L. It was already too late. So I then continued in Humber for a second postgraduate certificate in account management and advertising marketing. And then I also did a co-op. But after I did 2 co-ops that year, because the first one was okay, but I was working for a one-man shop and we're selling local ads and in magazines and newspapers. I needed to do something more in an office space, so I got another internship because of the connection I had made in my first internship at ComScore. I kept in touch with this guy. At the time, I considered him my mentor, and I let him know that I was looking for a better co-op that was more fitted to my career. And I got another internship at a data analytics firm with more structure. And so, after the second year, normally after your second program, you can go do a post-grad work permit. You can get a 3-year post-grad work permit. And I'll be right back. We'll continue this video soon. I'm sorry. I'll be back. Okay, let's do this. So I was saying that normally you get a 3-year work permit after a 2-year program, but so a lot of my friends at that time just went in and got their 3-year work permit, and that's why people usually do 2 years of postgraduate work permit. I've talked about this a lot of times. If you do a 1-year program, you can get 1-year postgraduate work permit. If you do 2, you can get up to 3 years, and so that's usually sufficient to do your postgraduate work experience, right? Because you need 1 year work experience to get your express entry. But in true Nigerian fashion, because I'm very stubborn, I wanted to do my what? Master's. You know, I feel like in my household, the minimum degree from both my parents are a master's. So competitive me was like, I cannot be the one to, you know, spoil the trade. So anyways, I always wanted to do my master's. But at that time, I had started some businesses. I was whipping my own body butters. I was making hair stuff to just help me with tuition, right? So with my organic butter and like oils business, I wanted to scale that. So I found out about this program called Management Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. So I got into that program and then got it in 2017 and started in 2017. That is a whole video. So like my experience in Kingston, this is the first time I'm moving out of city life in Toronto after 2 years. I'm moving to a small town where there's like 1 black person to like 500 white people. So that was the whole experience. And that was when I realized that Toronto is truly the most diverse city in the world, because anything else couldn't measure. And when I made my video about top 10 things every international student coming to Canada should know, linked here, I made that in Toronto, and somebody came for me saying, Toronto is not Canada. And I was this one saying, and I was like, what's this person saying? But I get it, because I was way too excited about Toronto and not realizing that Kingston was it's a whole different thing. Like if I was experiencing racism in Toronto like in 10 degrees, Kingston was probably like 60 almost boiling. But anyway, so that program taught me a lot about business, entrepreneur, and innovation management within tech. I also, with that program, was able to do a co-op. So I had gotten my work permit at that point, because with my program you can actually work and do school. And I went to get my work permit. I had the 3-year work permit anyways, because I had gotten a job offer. So I was going to work and do school, but the job offer got rescinded. Long story. So I finished school and then moved back to Toronto, where I started working in a recruitment tech consulting firm. So how I got that first job, which is it's a whole video on its own, but it was a lot through networking and keeping connections from my 2 programs. And that's why a lot of times you see me, I'm a very big proponent of studying in Canada versus just coming as PR, because with studying you get to network, meet a lot of people from other races. I even saw someone say, oh, how did you have all these friends from different places in the world? Because I came as a student, we're all in different groups together, we're all learning at the same time, so there was no judgment. But when you come as a worker, that it's harder to make friends from other communities. Obviously, that being said, I was young, I was in my early 20s when I moved, so studying obviously made sense for me. But if you're like if you're older, maybe not if you're older, you have a family, it might be easier and better to just come as a PR. But again, that's the benefit of coming as a student over a PR. So with that program, I was able to get into my first job after school, and then after working in that first job, I was able to apply for my PR. And I documented the process of filling my Express Entry profile all the way to when I got it 6 weeks ago. All the videos are going to be linked in the description box. And so yeah, that's pretty much my story. And now as a permanent resident, it's my 2nd year as a PR, because I lived in Canada and worked in Canada before I got my PR. After 2 years, instead of typically 3 for anybody who just comes straight as a permanent resident, I can apply for my citizenship. And you best believe that I'll be taking you all on the journey as well on how I apply for my citizenship and all that process. That's going to be later in this year. So if that sounds like something you want to see, I'm a part of the story, hit that subscribe button right now. Come on, hey. Anyways, I'm super excited today. But that's my story, right? That's how I did 3 programs. I did 3 programs because I'm stubborn and I really wanted a master's degree. I got my work permit, worked for 1 year, and now I applied for a permanent residency. I'll talk a little bit more about like the benefits of a master's versus a college, but all of that is in another video. I love you guys. That's my story. I hope you enjoyed it and the timelines. If you have any questions that I might somehow have missed, just being in the mood and enjoying this conversation with you, let me know and I'll answer them in the comment section below. Other than that, I hope you loved this video. If you like it, like it. If you love it, subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Have a blessed week. Take it easy now, guys.